So the second leg of the Champions League will return this week, and I am looking forward to that game, especially Barcelona hosting Manchester City, who somehow have to salvage this game by scoring 2 goals or more and not conceding any against Barcelona. It's going to be an interesting game. Let's talk some tactics. So we need to look at Manchester City as a whole and try and understand the way they're going to have to play tactically against Barcelona, which at the moment, with Barcelona's fine run of form and the goal-scoring ability of their front three, it is a near impossible task, but we're going to do our best to try and break down what they should be doing anyway. First and foremost, let's look at their formation in the last time both teams faced each other. So we know they had no Yaya Toure, which was notable. They missed him so much in that midfield because he allows for the team to move forward as a whole. They are comfortable with him in the middle because they know he is one of their star players who can control the game. He slows the game down in terms of pace, and he's going to be essential to breaking up Barcelona's play. The back four, as of recent times, Vincent Kompany has been dropped. I think Pellegrini has been watching me and understanding my disappointment in him as a defender, so he's not playing anymore. Gael Clichy, of course, is going to be suspended after his red card against Barcelona. So I imagine that maybe Sagna might come in and play where Gael Clichy would be playing. Zabaleta was left out for a little bit in a previous game against Leicester. So what I would imagine is they would stick to the back four that they had, that they've changed over now, and have Demichelis and Mangala in there because they provide a little bit more. Demichelis is experienced. He knows he's not as fast as what he should be, so he holds back, doesn't dive in. Vincent Kompany dives in more than Jacques Cousteau. He loves to try and get involved and just goes forward to people to try and step up Barcelona, which they want you to do, and he dives in consistently. So it is a good step for Pellegrini to leave out the captain. It's a bold step, but I mean, if he does it, I think it will pay off. So this is the formation that I think Manchester City will go with here for me. In the previous game, they went with a 4-4-2. A lot of people, critics out there, were going crazy, saying it had to be a 4-5-1 against Barcelona. That is true, but that wasn't the only reason they conceded those goals, because at points, they had the ball in here. They were diving in, and at one point, I remember it notably, the ball came in from wide. Vincent Kompany came out of nowhere and tried to win the ball in this area. Look at that gap that it allows. It is so easy to pinpoint where Manchester City break down, and it is their inability to stay on their feet and to remain disciplined when a fantastic footballer is coming at you. At one point, it was Rakitic who had the ball, which you don't need to step to him because you don't need to apply that much pressure. He's not as talented as Lionel Messi, but as soon as they dove in, that's what Barcelona want. They play the triangles, they'll find a way in behind, and that is where they'll score goals. Manchester City have to remain disciplined. I understand they need 2 goals and needed an early goal. But what you have to do against teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid, I'll put them in the same category here, is frustrate them. So when playing against Barcelona, we know that Lionel Messi will try to pick the ball up in deep areas, and the way Suarez is playing at the moment is at his best. He's holding the point, he's taking the ball into feet, playing nice little triangles in here with Messi. You cannot allow that. You must understand that one person had to sit on Suarez, man mark him, whether it's Mangala, who's a little bit more physical, try and nip in there to upset Barcelona's game, and then just have Fernando or Yaya Toure, one or both, to sit on Lionel Messi and do not concede this. And if this happens, it's so that you're drawn in the midfield. If Mangala is drawn in to Suarez's feet, they have to tuck in. Zabaleta will have to come in. Demichelis will have to sit deep, and whether it's Sagna or whoever they're going to bring in. And with Clichy out, Kolarov is definitely more defensive-minded, and he's a good player to have in there if they want to tuck in. It'll almost look like a back three with someone just sitting in front, like a Mangala, to pick up the ball and try and win it in that area, but do not get caught doing what Vincent Kompany does and concede so much space and leave these gaps. So Manchester City as a whole defensively need to be tighter, need to understand that if Barcelona can sense that they are frustrated, they will pick them apart piece by piece. A lot of neutrals would come in and imagine that Manchester City would go attacking, try and get that goal. But if you do that, you're going to leave yourself so susceptible to counter-attacks, and that is exactly what Barcelona want. In the attacking third, Aguero should obviously hold the line up top by himself. I would go with the David Silva, Nasri and James Milner partnership in there. I think that James Milner gives you a little bit more of a work rate wide areas. I think Navas would be good to bring on if Barcelona happen to get tired or a little bit further exposed wide. But at the start, I would go with James Milner, David Silva in the middle, and Nasri to try and pick up the ball, link with each other, keep it. You have to keep it in Barcelona's half. So as soon as the ball's transitioned over, they have to get out, of course. Yaya Toure can be that sort of midfielder to pick it up deeper, and Fernando must sit, or Fernandinho, whatever one he prefers to go with on this occasion, has to sit deep, to not get caught going past the halfway line. As a team, Manchester City need to move better and frustrate Barcelona. That's the only way they're going to manage to try and break Barcelona down, get it wide, get the ball into the box, get it into Aguero's feet, I mean, if they get an early goal, it will change the game, I think. I think if they get a goal, Barcelona may panic a little bit, but we know Barcelona, they're pretty calm in the way they play. I would imagine if Barcelona get an early goal, the game's going to be over. So let's look at the host of this game, Barcelona, and their formation they had against Manchester City. So there you have it there, the 4-3-3 standard formation. Busquets may be a doubt. We don't know if he's going to be back. He had that horrible tackle on his ankle. But Mascherano, can fill in that holding midfielder. It's no problem for him with Piqué and Mateo, who will play at the back probably if Busquets is not playing. That's not where the issue comes around. I think Barcelona are susceptible to midfield runners coming through the back at times. Piqué, if it is Piqué and Mateo, that could be a blessing for the likes of Aguero, who will be faster than them and can try and force those runs and create gaps in the middle. But it's where Barcelona are going to play against you in the final third that's the problem. Because we know, I love talking about it tactically because it's an absolute beauty when you watch these three play together. Because you just encompass what it means to be a great attacking threat. Suarez has now understood what his role is. You watch him now, he picks up the ball in these areas, he'll sit on the last defender, get it drilled into his feet and link up. Specifically against Rayo Vallecano, it was so remarkable the way him and Lionel Messi linked up together. At one moment, he played the ball in here deep, bent his run in behind, and Lionel Messi threaded him in, took it by the goalkeeper, and it was a goal. And with Neymar being rested on occasion, he'll be back fully fit, ready to go. You know what he does best is picks the ball wide, cuts it into that right foot and bends it in. It's this man, Lionel Messi, because he's the piece that gets them together. He picks it up deep and allows for their runs. You have to man mark him. There's no way, but you can't get too tight. It's almost impossible to try and play against Messi. That's why he's the best in the world. So if Yaya Toure steps on him, they have to make sure that someone behind them is going to cover. If it's Fernando, don't worry so much about the other midfield runners at the time because Messi is where your threat is at. So you have to double team him, have someone sit back and cover, and then allow for maybe Di Michelis or Mangala to kind of sit a little bit deeper. And it's going to concede some space, I understand that. But when you play against the likes of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, you're just going to have to bear with it. You're going to have to try and hold down the fort at the back and not allow them to get in behind, because as soon as they get in behind you, that is when it's going to be a problem. That's when they're going to score goals. So it's an almost impossible task, I have to say, for Manchester City. Other upsets have happened that maybe baffle people more than this, but I think that Barcelona will come away this game with a comfortable 2-0 victory at home. I don't think they'll concede. I think they'll go through to the next round. It could be a different story if Manchester City get an early goal and maybe Barcelona start to panic a little bit, but I haven't seen them panic so far this season. They look very comfortable, and I imagine that they'll go through to the next round. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the section below. Be sure to subscribe for more tactics talk here in the Champions League. Thanks again.